Pound, thank you for joining us for episode 26. Today we're going to be going over a little bit of Panther content as well as free agency. We just had a interesting drop today with the Russell Wilson news going to the Giants. So we'll cover that a little bit and we will go into these buzzboys of ours as they are on their way out of their current crazy season. So Ian, you ready to get it going, man?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right, let's do it.
Touchdown, Carolina! You're listening to the Buzz Pound.
Smith scores, and the Carolina Panthers win in overtime.
A Queen City sports podcast covering your Charlotte Hornets and Carolina Panthers.
Halliburton, nowhere to go! LaMelo's done it! LaMelo's done it! Hornets win! Here comes LaMelo.
Here are your hosts, Ian Blair and Cam Gardner.
Buzzpound, thank you for joining us for episode 26 today. Ian, I got a question I want to start off with. I want to see if I'm sure you've been paying attention enough, but I'm going to roll with it. Do you know what yesterday marked 5 years of?
Since we released Cam Newton, am I right?
You're right. It's been
Wow.
5 years since that tragic day. Man, it doesn't even feel like it's been 5 years, but at the same time, it obviously has. That was 2020.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, end of an era. Speaking of Cam.
Hey, we both are
Okay.
doing it today. There
Oh,
we go.
wow. Wow. Okay. We're matching.
How about that?
So, yeah, it's crazy. 5 years. I mean, it feels like it's flown by. And really, I think we might have saw the same post. I saw something on Instagram, I believe, of us releasing Cam Newton 5 years ago. And it's been a long time, man. It's been a long time since this team's been relevant. And hopefully next year in 2025, we can have a good football season because we need it.
Let's hope so. And I mean, that wasn't even an ideal season that year, but the last thing I thought was going to happen was Cam Newton getting released. I will never get over that Ian Rappaport notification dropping on my phone that day that he officially got cut or released. It was tragic, but we heard it the whole year that that was a possibility. And I thought that was impossible because at the time that was our QB1.
Yeah.
And it just didn't seem like there was any other way of getting rid of him and like what were we going to get out of it? And Teddy Bridgewater was the answer, apparently. But um, no knock on Teddy Bridgewater. I always been a fan of his as a backup. Teddy Two Gloves, as I like to call him, one of the few quarterbacks that wears two gloves when they play. But um, from going to that, then Sam Darnold, then Baker Mayfield, and the whole situation with all the backups coming in and out, and Matt Corral getting drafted, and all that just to lead into Bryce Young. So let's hope he's our QB1 for the long run, and hopefully he can make up for the past 5 years because it's been a long one.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's crazy to think that we went through so many quarterbacks. I feel like the Browns over here, mini Browns with how many quarterbacks they've had over the past. Gosh, it's been 20 plus years for them, and they just can't get it right. But I'm hoping Bryce is the answer, and it'd be nice to have our franchise quarterback solidified and locked up for the future, and be huge, man. It'd be huge. Teddy Two Gloves and Kenny Pickett also wears two gloves. I was thinking of whenever you said that, I was running through my head how many quarterbacks wear two gloves, and really the only two I could think of is Kenny Pickett and Teddy Bridgewater. So there's probably been some more, but those are the two off the top of my head. But yeah, it's crazy too that Sam Darnold's had a career year this past year, and Baker Mayfield has continued to play well for the Buccaneers ever since he's been there. He really has played his best years in Tampa Bay, and we just haven't been able to figure it out. But hopefully, Bryce is the answer. And I mean, we've yet to sign a big receiver or make any moves in that department. It's going to be interesting to see what we do in the draft. I've heard, or I saw a rumor about Tyler Warren, the tight end out of Penn State earlier today. I think a Panthers fan page posted that. but it's going to be interesting to see, man. I think we need weapons. We need more weapons around Bryce. And I think that we made a lot of moves on defense, but we kind of mentioned it last week. Nothing really Panthers related besides Ian Thomas signing with the Raiders earlier today as we record this podcast on Tuesday. Which is not big news to me, the Ian Thomas news. I mean, it's big if you're Panthers, or it's relevant if you're a Panthers fan, but I've never been a big Ian Thomas fan. I thought we shouldn't have extended him in the first place. He really never played well for us, never played much, and when he was on the field, he just wasn't very good. Um, but yeah, Russell Wilson signing with the Giants. About an hour before we started recording this podcast, maybe less, maybe like 30 minutes, 15 minutes, which was crazy. That's a very Giants move, in my opinion. But what's your opinion on that move?
I'm trying to figure out what are they doing. They're just stacking up on quarterbacks. They just got Jameis Winston. They last week Tommy DeVito got an extension. So I'm just like, what else y'all doing? Because I thought they were going to go for like Shador or somebody in the
Yeah.
draft. So, and I read somewhere on Twitter the other day. I know Twitter thinks you can't trust them all, but I saw where somebody was saying that they were looking at getting 2 veterans and then drafting in the draft, which I could tolerate that. But I completely forgot because I was talking to my dad literally before I hopped on this pod today. And I just asked him because he's a Giants fan, diehard. So I asked him what were his thoughts. And he was just like, what are we doing? Like, we got 3 quarterbacks now. Where's the depth? We need receivers. We need, improvements on defense. We need everything. Here they are, stacking up on their quarterback room. So it's just like, what are they going to do in the draft now? Like, does
Yeah.
that change their draft pick at all? I don't know, man. I mean, it was one thing when they got Winston. I was okay with that because literally that got predicted during the Super Bowl when he asked Saquon who should sign him, and Saquon told him the Giants, and they actually happened. So okay, I'm cool with that. So I was thinking, okay, Jameis Winston, Shador, that won't be bad. But now they got Wilson, so obviously we know who their quarterback one is going to be. So
Yeah. I don't even see him drafting a quarterback in my opinion. I mean, you don't. It would be different if you let Tommy DeVito go, but they re-signed him and signed Jameis and signed just now Russ. So that's 3 quarterbacks you just signed, or just re-signed, and Tommy DeVito. I don't think you don't carry 4 quarterbacks on your roster. You usually carry 3 at most. And I don't think I don't think the Giants are going to draft a quarterback. And I also think this is a hot take, maybe by me, but I think Shador Sanders is gonna have a draft day slide. I've been telling people for a long time that I think Cam Ward is the best quarterback in this class, in my personal opinion. And I don't think NFL GMs are as high on Shador as the media is, and kind of because obviously his dad's Dion and he's in the media and all that. But you look back, I mean, couple years ago when Will Levis was drafted, there was rumors he was going to go first round, number 1 overall, and all the media said he was going to be quarterback 1, and he ended up falling to second round. So I think we can see kind of a draft day slide like that for Shador. I could be wrong. He could prove me wrong, but when you watch him on tape, nothing really wows me. Nothing really wows me. I mean, he had arguably the best player in the draft on his team and Travis Hunter, who I really think is going to be a good pro. I love Travis Hunter. He's a great player, but I'm just not high on Shador, man. I think Cam Ward's the better quarterback, and I'm just not that high on him. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I don't think he goes top 5.
you think it's just the name Sanders? Is
No,
that it?
yeah, I mean definitely part of it, and he is in the media. His dad coached him, everything, and I mean he's a good player. Don't get me wrong. I just don't see the top 5 talent when you watch the film, when you watch the tape. I think his arm strength's a little bit weak. I mean, he didn't really get Colorado over the hump. Colorado, plays in a smaller, not a power 2 conference. Really, it's a power 2 in my opinion now with the SEC and Big Ten. You can count the ACC in it, but they're in the Big 12 and couldn't get him over the hump. And Travis Hunter, man, he really, when you watch the tape at Colorado, that's the kind of thing you want to see. You see throws like Shador makes from all over. You could say Kyle McCord from Syracuse made a lot of throws like that Shador did. I really like Cam Ward. I think he's a good player. I think he has potential to go number 1 overall. And if you watch him on tape, he makes a lot of good throws, and kind of his rise from, being a running quarterback primarily in high school to Incarnate World, which was a small school, and then to, you know, I believe it was Eastern Washington, and then now to Miami. He's gotten progressively better his entire college career, and some of the throws he makes are really good, and the pocket presence he has, and kind of the playmaking ability. But I think the Sanders name has a lot to do with it, and the fact that he is kind of polarizing in the media. He says it kind of reminds me. This is a good comparison. LeVar Ball.
Hey, there were actual comparisons of those families. So
Yeah. I mean, LeVar says some crazy stuff. Shadur says some crazy stuff. Maybe not to LeVar's, level, because LeVar in LeVar's prime when he was on Skip Bayless and or not Skip Bayless, well, he probably was, and saying he was better than LeBron, and he beat LeBron or MJ in a one-on-one in their prime and all that stuff. It's just crazy. But yeah, it's this draft's gonna be interesting.
it definitely will be. And while we're on the topic of the draft, I do have a question for you here. This is something I thought of not long ago, before we hopped on the pod, actually. So, for our sake, the Panthers, do we stay at the 8 or do we trade back?
Man, it's tough. It's tough. It depends on where we go. I mean, there's going to be a lot of good players at 8, and it depends on kind of the Panthers' philosophy, because I think if you trade back into the mid to late first round, Terriota McMillan, there's a possibility he's going to be there. But if you want Jalen Walker, if you want Michael Williams, if you want those guys are not going to last till late first round. Um, it's interesting, it depends on a lot of factors, who are we going to trade back with? What are we going to get in return? Realistically, if we trade back from 8, we're not going to get a future first. We might get some package seconds. Usually when teams trade out of the top 3, that's usually when you see them get a first round in return. I don't think we would get a first round in return for 8. I think we would get some seconds. It just depends, man. It depends on what the Panthers want to do. Because if they want to go best player available, I don't think we trade out of 8, obviously. But if they have a player in their head that they think they could get, mid to late first round, as in a Terriota McMillan or Tyler Warren, maybe. You might, I don't know. Tyler Warren might go early first round. He's a really good player, really productive at Penn State too, and it just depends on where they want to go, man. It's going to be interesting to see. What's your opinion? I want to stay at 8, and get best player available. Just take the best player available. We still have a lot of holes to fill, even on defense. Just take the best player. We need a good player, and I think we could get a really good player at 8. But what's your opinion on it?
No, that your last statement is how I feel. I want to get the best player possible. Anything to help us on defense. I feel like that's really where we need to focus on. I mean, there's a lot to do everywhere, but defense is where we really need to prioritize in this draft. I know we talked about who we felt would be, uh, you know, proper picks in that position, or at that pick a few episodes ago, but in my opinion, still stays the same there. But that's really where we need to focus on, man. I just, if they do trade it, I just hope they know what they're doing properly, because
Yeah.
it's still a lot we have to do to get this team in the right position. And I mean, we always talk about it. There's, we showed promise at the end of last season, but there's still so much more we got to do, and we cannot take any more steps backward, because since Cam left 5 years ago yesterday, man, it's so much more we got to do to get back to where we were. We took a lot of back steps. I know earlier you mentioned about a 4-man quarterback room, but we kind of went through that. Remember, we had Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, PJ Walker, and Matt Corral all at the same time.
Yeah, that's true.
So
That's true.
we were actually in that caliber at one point, if if the Giants are looking to potentially do that, but neither here or there. I want to stay there, but like I said, if they do happen to trade it, I just hope they do the right thing and not take any more steps backward, because we cannot afford that at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And this team's not in the position where it's a luxury, luxury to trade back and, gather picks. We could, but I think we're still pretty far behind in relative to these playoff teams that have a lot of good players and a lot of talent. We need a good player. And you could trade back. I mean, Will Johnson, the corner out of Michigan, who I think is going to be a good pro, didn't play much last year at Michigan, kind of went through some injuries, but his sophomore season, he really, when Michigan won the Natty, really played well. And I think that's a player, if you were to trade back, you can get later in the first round, but I'm all for staying at 8. I think you get the best player on your board at 8 and just go with it. You know what I mean? We have so many holes on this team. We have holes on offense. I think we still need another receiver. I think we're going to draft a receiver, whether it be, one through the fourth round, first through the fourth round. I think we're going to get another receiver. But this team has a bunch of holes, and Jalen Walker, these guys, Michael Williams. I think the kid out of Texas A&M, his name's escaping me right now. He had a really good combine, but anyway, I think he's going to go high in the draft. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. Shamar Stewart is who I was thinking of.
Yeah, I mean, kind of like you alluded to, if we were a playoff team, that's a different story. We could, afford to trade back if needed, but we're nowhere near that, and we cannot take any chances of taking risky moves like that because we got to get the best players out there in this draft, especially being in the single digit, numbers in the first round. So, but talking about what's needed with this one team, let's go ahead and go to these Buzz boys. So they're currently playing the Orlando Magic right now as we speak. After tonight, they'll have about 10 more games left of the season. Long season at that. And I don't know if you saw it, but it made me laugh because it was well known long before it was even announced. But I think it was like 2 days ago, the Charlotte Hornets were officially eliminated from playoff contention.
Oh wow. You don't say. You don't say.
Yeah, don't
man,
say.
I really thought this team was going to make a push for the playoffs, man. I thought we were going to be an underdog. You don't say the Hornets missed out on the playoffs. Yeah, but big news tonight. Josh Okogie is playing. Hopefully we could see something out of him. And it's okay though, because whenever the Hornets draft Cooper Flag, we're going to be back and this team's going to be, a contender. And I'm still manifesting it. I am going to speak it into existence, excuse me. And I don't know. Cooper Flag's a Hornet. I already, I pre-ordered the jersey. I don't know what number he's going to wear. I didn't really, but man, I just really hope Cooper Flag is a Hornet. I'm going to continue to say it until it doesn't happen.
And you got a lot of insiders who are also alluding to how lethal it could be if they did it. Like with the type of team we got, how good of a fit he would be, because we need someone at his position. And he could be one of those players that could come in and do some damage. I mean, he probably won't be spectacular right away, but he'll get there. We got a young team. He's the main reason why I can't say the main reason. I love March Madness anyway, but he's someone I'm really looking at, and he looks league ready. You can't knock that at all. He is league ready. I would be very surprised if he decided to go back to college just to avoid going to the Hornets. But for the Hornets' sake, I definitely believe these next few games are going to be crucial for us with the lottery, because you know how that gets. The lottery doesn't always give the deserving team the number 1 pick. There have been plenty of times we thought we were going to get it. We always end up at number 3 or number 2.
Yep.
And I mean, it worked in our benefit. We got LaMelo, got Brandon Miller, but this offseason is definitely going to be interesting in my opinion, because I know they claim the Hornets are not looking to trade LaMelo, but you never know. Ever since that whole Luka Doncic trade, you just don't know what's possible and what's not possible anymore. Because I thought sure he was their new Dirk Nowitzki in Dallas. I mean, I did not see him leaving that team at all, and lo and behold, it happened. That was arguably the biggest trade of all time to some people. To some, I'm not sure what more you could put above that as far as trades go, but neither here or there. There is really a lot of work. We're talking about both of these teams the same way, but there's a lot of work to do with Charlotte. Well, the Hornets. It's all in the same air there in Charlotte. I mean, you got Spectrum Arena down the street from Bank of America, and whatever the Panthers and the Hornets are on, they both are on the same. I don't know what it is in the air. They're on the same exact stuff, but hopefully both of these teams can take a step forward. Hopefully in the draft for the NFL, the Panthers do something to be able to push forward a little bit compared to what we left off. And hopefully the Hornets, if we can get Cooper Flag, hopefully that'll be the right step into a better season next season. But
Yeah.
we say that way too much with this basketball team.
We say it way too much with both teams, at least we're glass half full kind of people. Um, Shout out my mom, but she's kind of a glass half empty kind of person with both these teams. Just think kind of realist. She's like, I don't know if we'll be good next year, whatever. Or at least, projecting, hopefully, hoping for a better season for both these teams next year. I really had high hopes for this Hornets team, man. And still believe in Charles Lee. I think he's going to get better from next year. I think he's going to reflect on this year and kind of in this offseason. I think he's the type of person that's going to reflect on this year and really think about what he could have done better and what he could have maybe improved next year, not do next year. And man, this team, it's just frustrating, man. It's really, we talk about it every single week on this podcast, but we have talent. We have talent. Brandon Miller, unfortunately, he was injured the majority of the year. Great player, talented. LaMelo has dealt with injuries his entire career, is a great, talented player. Even Miles Bridges is a crazy talented player. He could jump out the gym. I mean, dunk on anybody. And Mark Williams is talented as well, but we just haven't been able to put it together. And I don't know what's missing. I don't. And maybe, we can continue. It's just every year we draft a good player and draft a good player. And hopefully this year we can get one. We can get the first pick and get Cooper Flag, who I think 4 years from now is going to be no doubtably one of the best players in the NBA. And that's just my opinion. I think he's a great player and he's really shown it for Duke. We'll have to talk about March Madness here in a minute, but we're heading in Sweet 16 as we record this podcast. Got some teams that are going to be interesting to watch. But yeah, I'm really just hoping this Hornets team can turn around and get a good player and kind of look to sign some veterans in free agency. Kind of like I mentioned in previous podcasts, we're probably gonna have to overpay for some veteran free agents. But got to do what you got to do, and this team's really got to turn it around.
I mean, when you're a small market team like Charlotte, it's going to be hard to attract a star veteran player.
Yeah.
But if you want someone who can lead, someone who can win with that winning mentality, you're going to have to overpay, like you said. I mean, it's the obvious. You got to do it. And this organization, they can do it. But for some reason, particularly in the Michael Jordan era, when he was owning the team and running it, he just had a thing of getting the most, I can't even say mediocre players, but just doing, whatever he could to get a bunch of them and signing them. Obviously he didn't know how to run a team. I mean,
Yeah.
not all former players can run a team. Not all former players can coach. It's obvious. Not everybody can do it. But, kind of like you said, I don't know what it is that we're missing. We restructured pretty much the entire organization. We got new majority owners. We got a new coaching staff. Got a new coach at that.
Heck, we even have Kemba Walker on the coaching staff. Like what,
Yeah.
It's just like, what are we missing?
Arguably the greatest Hornet ever. He was my and still is my Hornet GOAT as of now. Unless LaMelo Ball long term with the Hornets and does something special that Kemba wasn't able to do, but still my Hornets GOAT. Anyway, it's so much, and going back to Kemba, it takes a lot for a player like that to come back, and be on the staff like that. And I know he knows this organization is nothing spectacular, but for him to retire from the league after bouncing around a few times after leaving Charlotte, it says a lot. I mean, he said that's the team that, gave him a shot when he first got in the league, and always going to be grateful for him because he was the main reason we were relevant at all in the 2010s era.
Yeah.
And a lot of people knew he was a great player, but he just wasn't talked about because he was in Charlotte.
Yeah.
But Something's got to be done. I don't know what more moves we can possibly make. Like you said, they're gonna have to kick out some money, make the right trades. But for the main core, the Miles Bridges, the LaMelo Balls, the Brandon Millers, hopefully he comes back strong next season. They all need to step up a bit more. I know we're not really going to knock Miller out too much because he was injured. Hopefully Trey Mann, that's another situation because he's supposed to be a free agent going into the summer. So um, I don't want to let him go because he's a great six man. I'm all about the six man position because that's an important role to a team. I feel like he would be one that we really would miss out on if we let him go that easily. But we also got to see how he recovers because he's been injured majority of the season. He's got a pretty serious back injury there. So I'm still hoping he has a speedy recovery and just comes back strong overall. But I want to give him another chance because he was providing for our team
Yeah.
very well. And Miles Bridges, I give all kudos to him. I know we talk about how well he's been playing all year. To me personally, though, and I may be a bit biased saying this, but he isn't quite what he was in the 2022 season when he
Yeah.
really was a monster and just doing it all. I mean, he was jumping out of the gym. Every lob that LaMelo was throwing up, he was catching and
Yeah.
taking it to the rim. So I would love to see that again. I mean, again, he's been the main factor of our team for the past probably 2 months or so now. So I'm all thankful for him. He's well deserving of that extension he got, and he wants to be there. I love anybody that wants to be in Charlotte because for any player that's there, you're not going to a winning organization. Um, it's you could argue if it's historic or not. I know they had a better run back in the 90s, but between him, LaMelo, and I know that's my main thing. I'm curious about this summer. What's going to be the deal with him? I mean, we know he signed that big extension a few years ago, but I just hope they don't just up and let him go like that. He is Charlotte. He's the
Yeah.
face of our team. And I just feel like there's so much we could do with him, Brandon Miller, Miles Bridges, and fingers crossed we get Cooper Flag. There could be so much we could do with that.
Yeah. No, I agree 100%. It's going to be interesting to see. I hope we don't trade LaMelo. I think this team needs him. I think he's still a building piece. Hopefully he can stay healthy, and hopefully we could. I mean, we talk about it all the time. We might as well just not even say anything about the health of this team. But wishing for a speedy recovery for Brandon Miller and Trey Mann. Trey Mann's going to be a restricted free agent, so hopefully we can bring him back. We got team control, so. I mean, hopefully the Hornets want to keep him, and hopefully he wants to stay in Charlotte because I agree with you. I think he's a great six man when healthy, and he played well to start the season. Kind of just got hurt, and then we haven't, he hasn't played the majority of the season really since the beginning, first couple months. But hoping for a speedy recovery for everybody that's been hurt. Grant Williams as well. We didn't mention him, but coming off of a torn ACL. Hoping for a speedy recovery for all our guys, really.
Yeah, for sure. Now, this just popped into my mind. What do you think is going to happen with Mark Williams this summer?
I don't know, man. I would hope we keep him. It depends on the trade value we're going to get for him. And if teams think he could pass the physical, I still think he passed the physical for the Lakers, and they just decided they didn't want him. But I don't know. He's remained healthy ever since the trade got vetoed, so to speak, and he's been playing decent. I mean, excuse me. He's been playing decent. He hadn't been playing bad. So, I mean, I hope we keep the guys around. I hope we keep the guys around and give it one more year and maybe blow it up after that. But I just still think there's so much potential with this team. I think there's a spark there. It just needs something, and I don't know what it is. Maybe it's that veteran piece that's won a lot of games before, just to kind of kick them in the butt and say, hey guys, this is not a winning culture. You guys have talent and you guys can win, and kind of help them, teach them how to win. But yeah, I think we should keep them. What do you think?
Like you, I mean, maybe bring a veteran of some sort in, put some money out there, but that may mean getting rid of somebody or a few guys, but hopefully some smaller pieces that don't factor in much. But give it one more year with this main core of guys, and then, if it doesn't work out, then if it leads to the same result, then it's time to do something different.
Yeah.
Because, like you, I believe there's so much potential with this team. Everybody's talented in some sort of aspect. And injuries really got the best of the team this year, especially with the key players. So that's why I say give it another shot. Hopefully everybody's healthy next year. Hopefully nobody's out long term, because health is key. But yeah, that's pretty much my mindset on that. I mean, we say the same thing weekly about them boys, but I'm always going to be a fan. I know we talk hard about them, but that's just because we care. It's our team.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. All right, Cam. Well, going into Sweet 16, what's your one team that you think is going to win the Natty?
I'm not even going to say it pains me to say it because it's all respect at this point, but I'm going to go with Duke.
Yeah.
They just really, those guys, Cooper Flag, and I'm not even saying that because there's a possibility of him being a Hornet, but I truly am a fan.
Yeah.
Like I said last episode, I may have my teams that I root for and that I may wear. Like now I'm wearing a Panthers
Mhm.
jersey, but when they're players I like, I keep up. I watch them. If
Yeah.
there's other teams that I like to watch that are exciting, I keep up. I watch. I'm just a sports fan overall. Um, I'm going with the Duke Blue Devils, man. They're representing the state of North Carolina very well.
Yeah.
You know, I'm big on representation of the home state, and not even just because they're from there, but I just don't know if I see anybody stopping them right now, man. I mean, they're on a tear.
Yeah.
I watched a few games over the weekend. I saw Auburn play. They got a nice little squad, and I know a lot of people have them winning. A lot of people have Houston. I mean, it's up in the air. A lot of people have Florida. It's up in the air, but
Yeah.
I'm going with Duke personally. What about you?
Man, I gotta go. I mean, I said last week when we recorded, I said, it was down to three teams. It still stands for that for me, or stands that way for me. But I think it goes to one of the one seeds, man. All four of the one seeds, whether it's Duke, Auburn, Florida, almost got upset. I mean, that UConn team coached by Dan Hurley they've won two straight natties or back to back. Not this year, obviously losing to Florida, but he knows how to coach. He's one of the best in the country. So UConn always has been a good team anyway. So, but Florida, Auburn, Duke, and Houston. I really think it goes to one of them. I think I got a 1A, 1B right now between Duke and Auburn. I think that's my 1A, 1B. Duke being 1A. That team's loaded, man. That team really is really, really good with Cooper Flag. Even without Cooper Flag, they showed it in the ACC tournament. They can win games without Cooper Flag, and I think they're really dangerous. And I think it's gonna be a good tournament. It's been ups and downs. I think Arkansas really pulled through. They made it somehow to the Sweet 16. There's seven SEC teams in the Sweet 16, which I thought was crazy. Some Big Ten teams, some Big 12. Um, but it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. And I think I'm hoping for a really good Sweet 16. And, Auburn plays Michigan here in Atlanta. Was going to try to get tickets for that. And my wallet said no. So, obviously that's going to sell out, especially with Auburn fans that travel. And I'm sure Michigan fans will travel as well. But Atlanta is in Auburn's backyard, so I think it'll really be an Auburn home game for the Sweet 16 against Michigan. Um, but yeah, I think it's going to be really fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, no doubt. And I'm actually looking forward to the Duke versus Arizona game because Caleb Love gets one more matchup against the Duke Blue Devils. Those that don't know Caleb Love very well, he was a Tar Heel earlier in his career, and he sent Coach K home on his final game in March Madness that year. That was the one time I got hoarse from a game. I could not believe that shot. And he did it again against Duke. I think it was last year at one point. So I don't see Arizona beating Duke, but I just hope Caleb Love has, one more good game on his way out of his collegiate career, and hopefully much success to him in the league. Hopefully he gets picked up by somebody and can show out and have a solid NBA career.
Yeah.
And I also want to shout out because my men's Tar Heels are not in, but I want to give a special shout out to the Lady Tar Heels. They made it to the Sweet 16. They're actually going to be here in Birmingham at the BJCC. I need to look at those tickets. I might be in the same boat as you, depending on what we're talking about. But since they're going to be this close, I'm going to at least see what they're looking like. If not, I will be in my living room or in my room watching them represent. Because they are playing very well. But the women in general, shout out to them. They're playing very well. There's so much talent out there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, these March Madness tickets they will burn a hole in your pocket. I checked the other day, and just to get in the building at State Farm Arena for Auburn and Michigan, you're looking at upwards of $500. And I said, even on the 400 level, and I was like, nah, it's not worth it. I'm not a fan of either of these teams. I don't really care. But yeah, hopefully be nice to go support your Lady Tar Heels in Birmingham at the BJCC. And it's crazy. Atlanta's hosting Sweet 16, and Birmingham is hosting the Women's Sweet 16. So definitely representing the South and having some good games here and 2 hours away from each other. So it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you just got to love this year, man. I mean, this time of year. I mean, you got to love March Madness. And it's exciting, not just the men, but the women. They're pretty exciting as well. The past few years or so, they've stepped up. They play hard out there. So I got to shout them out for sure. They are very talented. It's a lot of talent all around. So hopefully these next few weeks, we'll have some good games. And the final matchup, hopefully it's a good one. Because I like it going down to the wire personally. I don't like seeing blowouts. I don't like really knowing who's going to win 5 minutes, until the game is over. I like when it gets to the final few minutes and it's just neck and neck, shot after shot. I love it. I love the competition. I love the physicality. I love everything about it. So hopefully we get some of those moments.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure. I agree. Well, Buzz Pound, we appreciate you guys joining us for episode 26. Appreciate every single one of you guys for sticking around, watching the podcast, checking up on us. As always, you can follow us on both X and Instagram at BuzzPoundPod, and you can listen to our podcast on both YouTube and Spotify.
And with that being said, we at the Buzz Pound. Keep pounding and keep the high mentality.
Ready? Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Buzz Pound. Be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and let us know what you thought of this episode. Until next time, this is the Buzz Pound.
Touchdown!